Start the day out with the rich car. Woo! You're probably wondering why we're starting the day on the Camaro. I have to go save my mom. She got a flat in her car, so we're gonna go save her in this. But this thing is so fun to drive. Like, it's so nice. Sorry for my voice, I'm still really sick. This thing is so torquey, it's ridiculous. Like, you just give it a little gas and it just goes. It's so fun.
Holy shit! The marks!
Alright, so mission of the day, save mom, but she tells me that's the spare, but don't bring any tools. So we gotta go back, get some tools. She didn't even know she had a spare tire on there. So we'll come back, save the car, and I just get to drive the Camaro more, so I'm happy. Alright, so we got some tools now. We're gonna go save the Land Rover. Jesus Christ, I almost lost my ankles. Holy fuck. I saw my life flash before my eyes. I wouldn't have been walking.
What the fuck?
Dude, that's heavy. Oh yeah. Lady too. Oh my god. So no Dunkin' Donuts, just Chick-fil-A?
Now your coffee and Chick-fil-A.
Like, I keep forgetting to give you this.
Here you go.
But before I forget again, I'll give it to Zach because he don't have nothing in his hands.
Yeah.
We got you.
My day is made right now. This is great. Alright, so we're back at the garage. Zach's about to leave because we got the day started super late. My mom's Land Rover was messed up. I'm going to finish up some wiring on the 240. And I'm going to do a little explaining today of how to do a wiring chassis harness like this because a lot of people ask. I'm just going to go over like the basics. Eventually I want to do a full video explaining everything. This relay goes here, this power in, power out, starter, alternator. But today we're going to do the alternator and I'm going to explain how to wire up the starter. But first we're going to start on the alternator, and also I need to finish up my mass airflow wiring. Alright, so I'm going to explain the mass airflow real quick because it's so easy. So here's your mass airflow right here. I have a Z32 MAF. You should never have to wire it up from scratch, but just in case if you do, I'm gonna explain it real quick. So this one right here, this one right here on the far left is the mass airflow input. I'll show you that on the ECU in a second. Mass airflow input. The two centers are both grounds, and then the one all the way over is 12 volts switched. Basically when you turn the key it would turn on. And then the mass airflow input on the ECU harness, I forget what pin it is. I'll put it on the screen right now so you guys know if you want to look it up. But it's this white wire right here. I think it's pin 16, but I will put it on the screen. So that's mass airflow input, and then the mass airflow ground is next to it. And then you can just do 12 volts off of your switches or your relays or your ignition. Okay, so I'm sorry I haven't been keeping you guys really updated. Like I said, I'm sick today and I'm just trying to do these last couple little things. But real quick, I just went ahead and undid this and actually soldered it this time. Wanted it to be like better, correct. These are some main powers, so definitely don't want them coming loose. Butt connectors aren't bad, especially the shrink wrap ones, which I used on most of this stuff. But like the main power wires, you're definitely gonna want to go ahead and solder. Okay, so the all red one is the ECU backup power. The red and black is the ignition, and the black and white is the ECU power. So yeah, the red ECU backup power, red and black ignition switch, and then the black and white ignition power. So the I have the red one wired up from a switch when I turn my ECU on, or when my ignition turns it sends power here, and then these ones are the same thing, the ignition turns all of these on. So my mass airflow, I'm actually making the wire disconnectable, so if I ever have to pull the engine harness out, it's not a part of the engine harness. It's going to be its own 3 wires. I only have 2 right now. This is the mass airflow ground, which is pin 16, and then mass airflow input is 17, or it's the other way around. I forget right now off the top of my head. So those are just going to be, they're going to be able to just plug in right here at the input and the output. Alright, so I'm pretty much done wiring up the mass airflow. Now it is time to finally tackle my alternator plug. For the alternator, I'll explain it real quick with this plug right here. There is a main power that goes directly to your battery or of some sort that way. I have it going from the alternator to the fuse block, which then goes directly to the battery. A couple people were arguing with me about that's going to work your alternator harder. I don't see it being a problem because that's how 240s are factory. I'm pretty sure the alternator goes through the fuse block then to the battery. If not, if I have problems, I will switch it up. It's not a big deal, but for now, I think that's okay. If I had to redo it, I would send it directly to the battery though. But anyways, to the plug. This is a plug, and then the other plug I've seen that are the same has a thicker wire. The thicker wire would go directly to a 7.5 amp fuse to 12 volts. And on the smaller wire plug, the yellow one would go to 7.5 amps or 7.5 amp fuse directly to 12 volts. That is your sensing wire, I believe. And then this other wire, which is red striped with a white, which is the same thing on the other one, goes to your dash cluster, which is the light bulb that lights up when it stops charging or is charging. I don't know, I haven't looked into it, I just know it does that. You can actually wire a resistor into this so you can bypass the dash cluster, but I'm going to try my best to use the dash cluster because it looks better. I would like to wire up my tach eventually, so we're going to try it that way, and in a future video I will let you guys know if that works. So let's go to the store. I need to get some thinner wire because all mine is too thick, and I'd rather just use the same gauge of wire. We're going to go to the store, get some wire, and we will be back in a second. Alright, so I just got back from the store. I picked up some 18 gauge wire. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It looks like it. I got some green and I got yellow. Yellow matches the one, green does not match the other one, but I have no green wires on this car, so it'll be really easy to identify the alternator wires. That is one tip I have for you, is keep your wiring clean. Keep the colors mixed up. Try to use a certain color for certain things like lights and certain colors for other things. Obviously black for grounds. Just keep it organized. Take your time. Don't rush anything, because if you do, everything's just gonna get screwed up. Like, you mess up wiring on one wire, like not make it clean, the rest are just gonna follow that path and it's not gonna look good. So I'm gonna wire this up like I said earlier real quick, and then I'll be back and I'll show you guys what I did. So anything important, you definitely wanna solder it. Like lights and fans, you can get away with not soldering it, but like alternator or starter or ECU power, you don't want that to catch on fire or short or anything stupid. So, soldered the alternator plug. Now I got this. Now I'm just going to run this into the car. The yellow one is going to go through a 7.5 amp fuse directly to 12 volts. This green wire that's originally white and red is going to go to my dash cluster. Pretty much done with all the wiring. I got the alternator ran. I'll show you guys that in a second. I have the mass airflow done. I know I've said this like 100 times, like I'm done with the wiring. There's just this one more thing. There is no more of that one more thing. Now it is done. I mean, eventually I'll have like accessories. But for this car to drive, like right now, if the alternator situation that I just did, just wired up, is correct, I should be able to drive this car across the states and have no wiring issues. So that's good. I'm about to wire in the cluster, and what I mean by the cluster is not the whole entire cluster. I'm just going to send power to the wire that the alternator needs to go to. Okay, so you guys saw me earlier down there. You guys can't even see. There's the yellow wire I did and the green wire. They run through this grommet I made, which is a hole I made. It's not a factory one, which I saw a lot of guys were like, you need to have a rubber grommet where these wires go through. Everyone does. I have the engine harness grommet. It's just not in right now. But I actually made this hole back there, and I put a grommet in there. I like drilled that out with a hole saw. But whatever. So the green and yellow wire come in. They go up there, as you can see. The yellow wire is right there, and it goes into this fuse block with a 7.5 amp fuse, which is directly to 12 volts, and that runs back to the battery. Okay, the green one runs up top, up there, and then it's right there. I just need to wire that into the dash cluster itself. Alright, so super happy right now because I was in like the worst position ever. I was about to wire up the dash cluster, but I just knew something wasn't right. I knew I didn't have the right plug. I only had one, and I was missing the other two. And I didn't want to wire it up wrong and screw something up, catch something on fire, even worse. And I'm like putting it on Snapchat. I'm like, yo, I need help. I need this plug. And I'm like, wait a minute, Steven, you idiot. Like, you bought a whole chassis harness for this car because you were going to put it back together. And I was like, fuck yes. I ran over here. I'm looking through my box because I have like almost a whole chassis harness. And sure enough, bam, 3 brand new dash plugs ready to go. And I was wrong, and I'm glad I thought about that because the plug that I was gonna plug in is not the alternator plug. It's actually, I believe it's the center, yep, it's the center one. It's right there, red and white. The exact same wire that comes off the alternator like I read on the internet. So now we are good. I'm so glad I got that right. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these plugs off these harnesses, or this harness, and we're gonna have a working cluster and all the plugs. Super sick. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I finished everything up. So we're gonna go ahead and hook our battery up. Hook that up. And I don't know if any lights are gonna come on the dash. I would imagine they're supposed to. When you turn the key, I'm not starting the car right now, I'm just gonna turn the ignition on. But oh, let me make sure my fuel pump, it's alright, it'll be fine. Alright, so let's turn our ECU on. Alright, so the ECU is still good, just how it should be. And let's see. We don't have nothing on the dash, but that should be okay, I would guess. I mean, I don't know, I won't be able to test it till I get a voltmeter on the battery. Okay, so to make sure the alternator is working, I have my voltmeter hooked up to volts right now. The battery's at 12.3. I believe alternators should normally put it around like 13, but honestly, anything above that, I'm gonna be happy for right now. I'm gonna go ahead, turn everything on, try to start this. I have my mass airflow just dummy rigged right now with not butt connectors, but like regular plugs like this, because I'm waiting for the plug in the mail. It should start right up, and then we'll just jump back there and look at our thing. So ECU power on. This also turns ECU power on. And as you can see, we have airflow readings. I'll just leave that down there. And there you go, we have a working alternator. I think it read 14.7 and now it's back to 12.5. Booyah! Once again, Seabass learning all the tricks with the 240s. Feeling slick. Feeling sick still, I should say. Sweet! Working alternator, working mass airflow, working SR20, working Blitz wide hot boy wheels. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm just hyped now because I'm about to pass out because this exhaust. I know it sounded like it was running terrible because it probably is. I mean, remember, no vacuum lines, no intercooler pipe. But it started up and it was charging the battery. So, booyah! That is going to be it for today's video, guys. I think I forgot to talk about how to wire up the SR20 ignition. I'm just feeling really sick. I was super sick yesterday. That's why you guys didn't get a vlog Monday. But I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm feeling a little better tomorrow. I should be back in 110%. Now that the car charges, starts, everything, once it drives, I'm gonna make a video of how to do a full custom chassis harness just like me. Do I suggest doing it? No, because the stock one's just as fine. It doesn't do anything for you. The reason I did it is because I messed up and took my stock one out. You don't need to do it, but I will make a video for you guys out there that wanna be full-blown drift cars like me. But that is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped some of you out wire up your alternators in your sick 240s or whatever your SR20 swapping. We will catch you next time. Peace out. Stay tuned for November 1st because there's going to be a sick merch drop. I want to release the merch so bad, but I just can't. You guys got to wait till it drops. It's going to be sick. We will catch you next time. Peace. Keep it street. Always.